welcome to another episode of Commercial Property Roadshow. You're here with Helen Tarrant, and I'm about to fly back to Sydney, but I thought I could do a quick video to share with you what I've been doing with my clients recently, and it's all about what kind of portfolio they can build when they want to reach a certain type of cash flow. So for example, you want to get to $50,000 in positive cash flow, you want to get to $100,000. What is it that you actually need to actually get there? And a lot of people don't realize that because they just want to pluck a number out of the air because no one's ever actually told you that. So for $50,000, and this is how we work it out. And how do we know? Because we do this day in, day out with our clients. This is what sets us apart from any other buyer's agent in this market. What sets us apart in terms of educating, thoroughly actually understand. So let's go. So $50,000, you want to earn $50,000 in passive income. So this is what you do. $50,000, you need to times that by 10. In an ordinary market, when the interest rate was at 2 to 3%, we were able to get 10% cash on cash return for our clients if they go to a regional area, getting about 7% yield, right? But of course, the market has changed and now you need to add a surplus. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So first step, if it's $50,000 you want to get in passive income, you need to times it by 10. That becomes $500,000 in terms of a deposit or equity that you have. The more cash you're going to put into it, the more cash flow you're going to get. And the more equity you're going to put into it, the less cash flow you get for the moment, but you can grow that over time through yield compression, through rental increases, all of those in the future. Now, if you are looking into doing it today, August 2023, you need to add a surcharge because the interest rate is at 6.5%. Now, how much is that surcharge? That surcharge is 40%. So $500,000, you now need $700,000 to get $50,000 in passive income. Because right now, if you go to regional, even at 7%, you're getting about 7 to 8% cash on cash return. In metro, you're probably getting 4 to 5, maybe 5.5%. Cash on cash return. And that's what's cash on cash is purely the cash return on your money after all the expenses goes out, right? The mortgage, everything else, right? So that means you need $700,000. Now, if you have $700,000 in cash in the bank today, you literally go out and buy a property, leverage that up, buy a property, and get $50,000 in passive income. You wouldn't be able to get that without leverage. You'll probably get $30,000-$40,000, but at $50,000, you can leverage it up and you get that, right? Now, what does your portfolio look like if you want to get $50,000 in passive income? Now, we typically, in commercial property, you can get passive income through leveraging and depending on how much equity and cash you put in. And of course, you've got to refinance that commercial property later on down the track as the return goes up, the rent goes up, the yield compresses, and the value goes up. Pretty much like what you do in residential, you do that in commercial. Now, the most important thing is commercial doesn't need you to service. So if your serviceability tapped out, but you have $700,000 sitting in your offset account, you still make $50,000 in passive income in the next 12 months, right? And that depends on, again, how much cash, how much money you put in. Now, let's see this. 65% LVR is where lease-up comes in, where it's not looking at you for servicing, but looking at the lease and the tenant for servicing. 5% cost is what you need, depending whether you buy in ACT or Victoria. I mean, that cost might go from 5% to 2% to 7%, depending on that. But 5% is the standard we work on, at 35% deposit. So you take your $700,000, you divide it by 0.4. Now that will cover you for your deposit, your cost. So essentially it's 105% finance, 105% finance. So that actually, if you take $700,000, you do this on your calculator now, you divide that by 0.4, it comes out to $1.75 million. That is how much your portfolio you need to build. Now, when you get to that portfolio, you now need to see what is the kind of yield I need to make to actually get my 50K. Now, typically you need to clear between 2 to 3% margin between what the interest rate is and where your yield is. But of course, at 6.5%, you're not going to go out there and buy a 9% yielding property, because if you do that, you're going to be in Emerald, you're going to be probably in Mount Isa, probably going to be mining Kalgoorlie in WA, right? That's not safe. If you want to be in a safe zone, you need to be somewhere between 6 to 8%, right, in that safe zone. So 7% is still what I'm working on, but right now, if you're looking at 7% yield and you're 100% or 105% leveraged, you're only going to be clearing about $5,000 positive cash flow on every million. So you're probably clearing between 7 to 9 grand on 1.75 million. So for you that goes, but I'm not getting anywhere near my 50,000. But wait, let's see what happens in 5 years. In 5 years time, you literally are growing your portfolio. So every rental increase, remember, adds at 3% rental increases per year, adds 0.25% onto your yield. So a 7% property becomes an 8% property in 5 years time. So your 7% becomes 8% in 5 years time, but also interest rates are going to drop. Interest rates are going to go from 6.5% to probably 5 to 5.5%. Now you created a margin. So with the increase in terms of your net rent plus the decrease in interest, now you're clearing that margin, and that's going to get you to $50,000. But the other great thing about it it is you're also going to get a capital gains increase as well. So your 1.75 mil is probably worth somewhere at 2.3, but, or maybe even 2.5 by the end of a 5-year period. So you can get both cash flow and growth. And that's why you should invest now into commercial real estate versus anything else, because still now in commercial real estate, you can be able to have a property service you at 105%, still give you some money and still have nothing out of your pocket and continue to grow your portfolio. So hopefully that's been helpful. This is what the kind of exercise I do with our clients day in, day out, to help them dissect the kind of property, the journey and everything else. But if you want to find out more, click the link below, really join our community, because that's one way to help you in the next steps, but also participate in one of our events. All of the details are below, but in the meantime, hit the bell, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.